All right, happy Monday. It's another flip video lesson. Notice I am not putting my face in the video this time, so I won't be in the way, so that's kind of nice. We are going to be working on diagramming sentences, and we're going to be focusing on adverbs and indirect objects. And this is just a question for all of my students to ponder as you figure out this, or as you go through the lesson, and can you figure it out before the end of the lesson? Is there an English word that uses all the vowels, including Y? The answer will be at the end of the video. All right, so you are going to be making a 2-flap foldable. I want you to turn your paper portrait style, and then I want you to fold it down, a hamburger fold, and then you're going to cut it down here. I didn't cut mine, but I will later. And then you're going to label it diagramming adverbs and IDOs. On the adverb side, we need to write down that they modify verbs, adjectives, and other adverbs. On the indirect object side, you need to remember that and write this down, they follow an action verb. They come between an action verb and a direct object. That's what that DO is. Sorry, it's so sloppy. And they answer the question, to whom is the verb done? So take a minute, pause the video, and get your foldable set up. Okay, so we're going to work with the adverb section first. So open that flap, and on the top of the flap, I want you to copy. Actually, you know what? You can really just copy this diagram in there. You don't need to do both. So diagramming adverbs is very similar to diagramming adjectives. They simply go on a diagonal line under the word they modify. All right, so and this would be an example of like very happy or very happily ran the race. I don't know. Okay, copy this one down. All right, and then these are some examples. We've got Philip runs very quickly, or Philip runs quickly, and then Philip runs very quickly. I want you to only copy this one down, just so that you don't have enough room, and copy that on the bottom portion. So on the top top portion of the flap, you have the example. On the bottom, or the setup, that, and on the bottom you have that. So do that right now, and then continue on. All right. There are compound adverbs, and the great thing about compounds, anything, direct objects, compound subjects, compound verbs, compound direct objects, compound adverbs, is they're all pretty much written with the same structure. So you just have to remember that one structure. And so if you can see here, we've got Caroline walked quickly but quietly. But is our coordinating conjunction. So quickly and quietly, right there, modified walked. The but goes on the dotted line, and it all goes under the verb. So the great thing about diagramming is even if you're not sure how to do it, if you can think of a way to do something else, you can usually figure it out. Please copy that down in your notes. All right, so now you can shut the adverb side and open up the indirect object flap. On the top half of that flap, I do want you to copy this diagram. You've got your subject, you've got your verb, know that it has to be an action verb, and you have your direct object. The indirect object goes into the verb because it answers the question, to whom is the verb acting upon? This is an example of what it would look like, a sentence with an indirect object. Ronnie handed the dog the treat. Now notice the modifier always goes on a diagonal line under the word it modifies, even if it's an article that modifies an indirect object. So we've got Ronnie handed, and then we've got dog, but the modifies dog, so you have to put that on the line, and then the treat. All right, so that diagram should get copied into your notes. And yes, there can be a compound indirect object. You knew that. You don't have to copy this in your notes because you're about to do an example, but this is what it would look like. Same thing, same setup as everything else that's compound, okay? And so the example is Mrs. Walsh gave Carol and Bill a chocolate cookie. We've got Mrs. Walsh, gave, and then if you look, Carol and Bill is your compound indirect object, and then cookie is your direct object, and a chocolate cookie, which would be my favorite kind of cookie. What's your favorite kind of cookie? Now I'm hungry. Please copy that in your notes, then we can move on. Okay, so now you've seen the outside of your notes. This is what the inside of your notes should look like. If your spacing isn't the same as mine, that's okay. Make sure you've got all these copied in. If you need to rewind or go back a little bit, go back. But I expect to see your foldable look like this tomorrow. Then I want you to try these on a separate sheet of paper, and I folded mine into fours. I tried these 4 sentences. You're going to see I messed up on my third one. You'll see the answer key in just a minute. Justin and I watched football yesterday. Think about how you do a compound subject. You've got your verb, You've got your direct object and your yesterday. What does yesterday tell us? It tells us when we watched. So yesterday is actually your adverb that modifies watched. So it would go in a line under watched. Then my mom cooked my sister and I. Notice that you have a nice compound indirect object, a wonderful lunch and a yummy dinner. So I have a compound indirect object and a compound direct object. I'm getting pretty sneaky here, aren't I? The golden puppy grabbed the ball and the stick very quickly. All right, the golden modified puppy grabbed, what did he grab? The ball and the stick very quickly. If you'll notice, there is not an indirect object in here, but there is a compound direct object. Last but not least, the pleased and surprised coach happily gave the players a high five. Here we've got gave is your action verb, your indirect object of players, modified by the, and a high five. And high five I included as one word. So give it a shot. Try to diagram these, and hit pause. And then you can look at the answers and see how you did. All right, so these are the answers for the first two. Justin and I watched football yesterday. All right, and then Mom cooked my, see that modifier my, sorry, I know it's blurry, sister and I, a something lunch, we'll have to go back to the sentence, a yummy lunch, and a yummy dinner. And I think I might have forgotten a modifier here. Let's go back and look. Nope, just yummy dinner. Oh, and it's a wonderful lunch. That's wonderful. Sorry, my handwriting is not the best, nor is the resolution of the picture. The next two. Now here you can see I messed up. I forgot the and golden, so this would be kind of wrong if I were to turn it in. The golden puppy grabbed, how did it come out? The golden puppy grabbed the ball and the stick very quickly. So the golden puppy grabbed the ball and the stick, and very quickly modifies grabbed. Even though it was further on in the sentence, it's still telling how he grabbed something. And last but not least, we have a compound adjective. The pleased and surprised coach happily gave the players a high five. So it's always good to get a high five from your coach. That means something went well. All right, now the moment you've all been waiting for, the answer to the question about a word with all the vowels. And the answer is, drum roll please, unquestionably. Have a great night.